Okay, so we've got two compound interest formulas we could use. We could use A equals P plus R over N raised to the NT. And then we also have A equals P times E to the RT. Okay, the second one is only used during continuous, when it's compounded continuously. And in this case, it is not compounded continuously, it's compounded daily. So we're not going to use that formula, we're going to use this first one. So let's go through what all the variables mean. A is the current amount that's in my account. P represents the principal amount. So this is how much I invested at the beginning, or however much I paid down on my loan, or how much I borrowed in the loan, depending on the problem. R is the rate. We have to make sure we use that as a decimal. And N is the number of times compounded in a year. So you can have, if it's monthly, that would be 12. If it's daily, 365. If it's annually, that means only one time. And then we have T, which represents the time, and that has to be in years. So in these problems, I think it's important first to identify what variables I have and which ones I'm looking for. So let's go problem specific. It tells me that 8.2% is the annual interest rate. So that means my rate is 8.2%. When I make that into a decimal, though, I have to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So it's 0.082 is my rate. Next thing it tells me it's compounded daily. So N, the number of times it's compounded in a year, is going to be 365. He wants to know what deposit today. So I'm looking, how much do I have to put down right now? That's the principal. So my principal is my unknown. Next I have the amount of $1,965. That's how much I want in my account right now. So my A is going to be 1965. And then the time is 7 years and 1 month. So since it has to be in years, we could think about that as being 7 full years and then 1/12 of another year, because it's 1 out of 12 months. And I would go ahead and make that into an improper fraction. So 7 and 1/12, that is 85 over 12. Oh, sorry, hit the wrong button. There it is, 85 over 12. Now we're going to plug all of those values in. So one thing that they recommend here, they tell you solve the compound interest formula for P. So that means take this whole formula, and since we're looking for P, let's go ahead and get P by itself. So, okay, I've got all that information. So let's go ahead and solve this formula for P. And actually, now that I'm looking, I wrote the formula down wrong. That's my fault. That should be A equals P. Let me fix it. It's going to be A equals P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT. That looks more like it. So now to write the formula down, if I want to solve for P, I'm going to divide by 1 plus R over N raised to the NT on both sides, because that's being multiplied by my P, which I'm trying to now isolate. Okay, so these cancel over here, and now I'm left with P equals A over 1 plus R over N all raised to the nt. And now that I have p isolated, I'm just plugging in. I'm taking all those values. So p equals the amount, which was 1965, over 1 plus my rate, which is 0.082, over n, which in this problem is 365 because it's compounded daily. And then this is raised to the n, which is 365, times t, which is 85 over 12. And I'll have to plug this into my calculator really quickly, but this should be my final answer, whatever I get when I plug this in. So I plugged that into my calculator, and I got $1,099, and then I got 0.3555, so that's going to round to be 0.36. And if I'm remembering correctly, because I'm looking at what the answer was on your problem, I think this is the one that's messed up on the practice test, that it keeps giving the wrong answer. Because this should definitely be the correct answer.